talk a little bit about that concept and what ingredients are sort of needed for a wealth creation mindset in terms of policy and that kind of thing?
Well, I'll answer the second part of your question first, because that's the easy part. We know what the recipe is for growth and prosperity. It's free markets and limited government. I mean, we just talked about that with the previous question. The Western world became rich when government was much smaller than it is in Hong Kong and Singapore today. So that's the recipe. Now, obviously, if you do half that recipe, you'll still get a lot of growth. If you do the full recipe, you'll get a ton of growth. Unfortunately, the OECD and the Biden Treasury Department are saying, no, you're not allowed to do any of it. Now let's get to sort of the big and more challenging part of your question, which is, why do some people have this zero-sum mentality about the economy? And I think that's a critical question, because if I was to identify one thing that makes it difficult to educate some of our friends on the left, is they really think that if someone like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates becomes rich, somebody else had to get poor. That they really think if there's a rich person in your town, that means other people in your town necessarily, by definition, have to be poorer. And that is so fundamentally anti-empirical, so fundamentally wrong, so grossly inconsistent with all the evidence of world economic history, and yet it is a profound mindset of our friends on the left. And I've been in discussions where I will literally open up my computer and I will show these people, well, here's the data on world per capita GDP. And look at how in countries that adopted free markets, all of a sudden per capita GDP and living standards dramatically increased. And I'll look at the data specifically for, say, the median household. So there's no ambiguity. It's not just because one person got super rich that the average number went up. And you look at the median household income and you see dramatic increases in countries that adopted free markets and limited government. And so you can show them this data, and you can see that they're processing it in their head, and they sort of understand it, but somehow getting them to then apply that knowledge to current public policy debates is, at least I haven't figured out how to get them to make the necessary jump in logic to understand that, therefore, if we want more prosperity, especially for the less fortunate in society, we need to get away from this zero-sum redistribution mindset, and we need to go with the policies that are more likely to give us growth and prosperity. Here's where I think we have a challenge, even among our friends who begin to understand this issue. They are so fixated on equality of results, equality of outcomes, that they don't want systems that enable more prosperity for everyone. In other words, if there's some policy that enables Bill Gates to get 10% richer and it enables Dan Mitchell to get 5% richer, they're going to say, no, we can't have that policy because that's going to increase income inequality. Well, I'm sitting here saying, wait, I would love to be 5% richer. I don't care if Bill Gates is 10% richer. Give me a chance to improve my life. But unfortunately, these folks are so fixated on inequality as an issue that it just blinds them. I don't know what it is. Do they have jealousy, resentment, rage, hate for success and entrepreneurship and innovators and things like that? I don't know, but it's fundamentally a challenge that if we're ever going to convince the broad population of why we need these policies that deliver more prosperity, we have to overcome this mental roadblock.